Hello, everyone. Welcome to our third episode of What's Happening in Your Neighborhood. Today, I have two guests with me today. From Operation Clean Sweep, I have Lynn Kosh and Russ Swanton. Welcome.
Thank you very much for having us today.
You're welcome. Thanks for being here today.
Thank you, Scott.
All right, so let's get right started. We'll get right into it. So with Operation Clean Sweep, who started it and what was the thought of behind Operation Clean Sweep?
So Operation Clean Sweep was started out of a frustration for the amount of litter on the streets of New Bedford. Back and forth to work, everywhere we go, kids walking to school, walking through litter. And I was looking for a way to make a difference and improve the situation. So rather than just make complaints and, call the city, I came up with some solutions. And it really came about in 2006 when Mayor Scott Lang was running and he had his Big Idea forums.
Right, yep.
And so I brought in my big idea about creating these neighborhood cleanups on a regular basis, on a monthly basis, April through September, in each ward of the city, and lead by example and clean up the litter that is plaguing our city streets.
Oh, fantastic. And so how many years now you've been in operations now?
So that was in 2006, and it's been 18
so
years.
Since then,
yeah,
18 years. So
yeah.
very good. And then, and how many volunteers did you start with back then? Was it just
Oh my
yourself?
goodness! Our first cleanup had over 250 volunteers.
Really?
Oh my God! It was so overwhelming. I couldn't believe how many people came.
Wow.
And because we take registration, right? So we want to know who's there. We want to know how many hours they're working, because volunteers' time is very valuable.
Oh, absolutely.
Anytime
Yes.
anyone volunteers,
Yeah.
their time is valuable.
Yeah.
So they're donating their time to help clean the city. And so we wanted to make sure that we captured that information so that we would know that going forward and help us with grant funding and just other kind of bragging rights about how people really do care, can come together and care about a problem.
Right, and it must have made you a lot more people than what it seemed at first, right? I mean, 250 is like you said, it was overwhelming. You didn't expect that, I'm sure.
Right, and it was more.
You know.
It was way more than we had planned for, and it worked out really well, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. Great. So as far as locations, how do you go about picking locations? How does that come along? Like, you're just going to go in this neighborhood this week or this month, or how does that come along?
In the beginning, it was really easy because there was so much litter and dumped items throughout the city.
Okay.
And we wanted to make sure that we hit each ward of the city, in the beginning of Operation Clean Sweep, so it would be fair and, distributed fairly. And that has only stopped in the last few years, not going to every ward, because so many places are now better than they were 18 years ago. And so it's actually getting harder to find places to clean, believe it or not, than it was back then. So we would just target an area. We had a team of people who cared enough to spend time figuring out where we should go and set up, how to recruit volunteers, how to get them through that whole registration process, and then where to deploy them, and who's going to manage the trash that they're picking up.
Right. So you have certain areas that you laid out of groups. You set them in groups to where they're going to go into certain areas.
Yeah,
well,
we even
right?
had transportation sometimes, like from a trolley or from the Veterans Transition House would provide a van, and people would load up in the van with all their tools and get, bust out to their cleanup location, so they didn't have to spend all that time walking. Because you know what happens? People start walking, they never get to their location because they start cleaning up litter along the way.
Oh, right. Yeah. So, and now, as far as the tools go, do they bring their own tools, their own ready to show and stuff? Or?
It's a good question. So we have a trailer, and it's full of cleanup tools, and all of the tools that we have purchased have come through grant money and donations.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So Operation Clean Sweep's an all-volunteer anti-litter campaign. It's grassroots. So grassroots, we get dirty doing it.
Right. Yeah.
And so the United Way mini grants program, we have secured funding from there year over year on different projects that we've had with Operation Clean Sweep. And then how we kept the tools was we made inventory numbers for each of them with a telephone number. So people had a responsibility to bring those tools. They signed them out.
Right.
And then when they brought them back, their name would go into a drawing for back then it was a free trash barrel. You know, it was
Oh,
like,
right,
ooh,
right,
people were
yeah.
really happy to get their free
Right.
trash barrel.
Yeah.
And that worked. It helped us to keep our inventory because
Okay.
people felt that responsibility to bring them back.
Right. Good. Good. And do you find that so the volunteers, you have the same volunteers coming back and back, or plus more? I'm sure, right? When you
Many
get the-
volunteers come back cleanup after cleanup, month after month, year over year. They've made friends along the way. Most of the time you see people walking around in their Operation Clean Sweep t-shirts smiling, you know, and
Right.
because everyone's there for the same reason,
Yeah.
you know, and they're doing something about it.
Right.
Even the people who maybe physically can't clean up can still take part in Operation Clean Sweep. They can help with, you know, at the checkout table. They can help at check-in. They can just
Okay.
give out T-shirts. They can greet people. There are so many different ways
Right.
to help.
Yeah. And so, and then you have a certain location where people just go and dump their trash once they're done picking it up, right? It's
Yeah,
just-
so we just ask our volunteers to, and I know it's changed a little bit over the years because I'm not the team leader anymore. Russ is, and he's taken over and he's done a great job. And the increase in cleanups has been phenomenal.
Right.
Russ has done some amazing work. When Operation Clean Sweep started for the first, 15 years that I was there, volunteers tied their bag and did not leave it on the corner of the street because we always have city personnel. The city donates personnel to us
Okay.
to pick up those bags, so
Right.
people don't have to drag them all the way back to
Right.
our headquarters. And then they would go in a dumpster. The dumpster would get taken away and weighed, and that's how we managed all of those statistics and the data that we collected over years.
Very good, good. So to become one volunteer, like I said, all they have to do is just contact the Operation Clean Sweep, and they can just volunteer anytime at any location that you will. So, so how many cleanups have you done? Well, first of all, how many have you have up to date since you started?
Okay. We have started, like, back to what Lynn was saying, we started out with 5 or 6 cleanups the first year. And
Okay.
that was generally it. We tried to do 5 or 6 a
Right,
year, do the
right.
neighborhoods. And as time went on, we would realize, gee, there's more to be done, more to be done, more to be done. And the United Way would contact us and say, hey, can you bring a group over and do this? Or can you have another group clean up another area? So we were looking at other areas, and we started expanding into parks, waterfront areas, different neighborhoods that we hadn't been to.
Right.
So there's, we're finding parks that need to be cleaned. We found waterways that needed to be cleaned. And this year, and this season, my focus has been on the waterways. And we have found more trash in the waterways, especially on the Inner Harbor.
Right.
It's phenomenal how much trash is in the waterways in New Bevan Harbor. It's unbelievable. So our focus has been a lot on the waterways this year, on the Inner Harbor,
Yeah. Yeah.
and as well as the streets. We haven't forgotten the streets. We still do that. So this year we have done a record 16 cleanups.
16. Wow. Wow. This year, right?
Yeah, we have never done that many cleanups.
Wow.
Because there's been the locations that needed to be done on the waterfront, Inner Harbor. We find a lot of wood, styrofoam, booms,
Right.
trash. It's unbelievable how many we pull out of there.
Yeah. So now, so the waterways being the way they're being, is that just people just throwing stuff in the water, or is it just from other places because we all know that waves and water, it's just, so they're coming to shore from other areas?
No, the
Right.
water, the trash that we're finding on the Inner Harbor is coming off the boats,
It's coming off the
the
boat?
pleasure crafts and the
Really?
fishing boats.
Really?
It's some stuff is coming from the land, people on the beaches, but a lot of it because we're finding gloves, blue gloves, fishing totes,
Right.
fishing rope,
Right.
twine,
Wow.
a lot of fishing gear type stuff.
Really? So when you say fish, it's just commercial fishing or just recreational fishing?
Both,
Both?
Both.
Really?
both.
Wow.
When we're finding
That
things
really
like
surprises me.
milk cartons and filled with milk
Yeah.
and water, with still with water in them.
Wow.
A lot of trash, and it's
Right.
all you can. When you see a boat specifically for pleasure craft
Yeah.
coming in, and a lot of this is well documented. We know how much weight, how many
Right,
people, how
right.
much type of
Yeah.
items.
So that's a good message to get out there. So if you own a boat out there and you go fishing or just please just pick out your stuff, even if you're out in the waters, right?
Carry in, carry out. Take
Yeah.
it with you.
You know?
Dispose of it responsibly. keep your little part of the world clean wherever you
Exactly,
are.
right.
It's easy to do. If
Yeah.
we all just took care of the space around us,
Yeah.
we would have less of a litter problem,
Yeah.
less of marine debris, and all of the problems that come along with that.
And I guess with people's mentality, just think, well, they're out in the water, so it's okay because nobody's gonna know it's out in the water. But it still affects us.
And we
Yeah.
live
More
in a
than what
windy
they-
city.
Right.
And so
Yeah.
a lot of the trash that we find, like when I first started cleaning up, it was along the shorelines on the Fairhaven side. A lot of the litter was coming from land. It
Right.
was, just stuff that had blown
Had
because of,
blown.
and the way the tides were,
Yeah,
the
exactly.
southeasterly.
Right.
New Bedford is the #1 seaport in the country.
Exactly. Right. Exactly.
And to see how much trash is in the inner harbor,
yeah.
it's just mind-boggling how much is in here. We have the nation's #1 fishing industry, but we can't keep this harbor clean.
Right. Yeah.
It's frustrating too,
Yeah,
to
I
see
can
what is out there.
understand that, yeah. And even for me, I'm surprised. I thought it was a lot cleaner than what we're hearing today, and just especially from fishing boats like that. Yeah, mind-boggling. We raised the locations and stuff. So you plan on doing another cleanup this year, or winter time's coming? We only need the last 2 months, so you're probably going into the new year.
Yeah,
Location, right? Getting stuff for the new year.
Yeah, we'll be starting the 2025 season. We'll start organizing that pretty soon.
Right.
We're doing 1 or maybe 2 more cleanups this year.
Okay.
So we're not quite done. We're almost done, but
Right.
maybe 1 or 2
One,
cleanups.
2 more.
Right.
So
Big-
Operation
big-
Clean Sweep went from 6 cleanups a year, April, 3rd Saturday of the month, because we're working, and this is what we did in our downtime.
Right.
But now that some people have retired, they have more time, and so Russ is actually able to accommodate other people who want to perform cleanups and go there and give them the safety tips and the direction and the assistance so that other people can go out and clean up an area that they are in distress about.
Right, right. So, and while we're at it too, so if somebody wants to volunteer for the next cleanup, how do they get in touch? You want to give a website that you can give out, or a phone
do.
number, or
Yes.
you want?
Yep, OperationCleanSweep.net. People can sign up there. Once they get on that email list, we do send out an email that will encourage people to come out during the monthly cleanups.
Okay.
And more, Russ? What else are you doing?
Yeah, people will this year there's been a lot of organizations that have contacted us,
Oh, really? Yeah.
individual companies.
Well, that's always good that they contact you.
Right, so
right?
they're coming with groups, large groups of volunteers. So it makes it easier. Instead of trying to search for people, they're looking for us now.
Right.
Coming, different companies are coming in
Oh.
as sponsors and bringing
That's
their
good.
people to help out.
Yeah. So that's good when when you can get sponsors, people that want to sponsor, say, look, how do I sponsor you? And what they think that you're doing
Yeah.
a great job. So that's good.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. The more sponsors, the better.
Yeah.
And
Uh,
the fact that we're able to accommodate that is just like amazing too, because there was a time when we couldn't accommodate people's special requests.
Right. Right. Ah,
Yeah. So we'll have a company and just bring out the employees.
Right.
And just do a specific area.
right.
And they love that.
And you have a Facebook page as well too, or
Yes.
so they can always go to the Facebook page, Operation Clean Sweep, right?
Like us on Facebook.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
So they can always find you there, and then you always will have your cleanup list there where you're going to.
Right, as well as other environmental friendly information that people can
Right.
read or post,
Right.
because it takes all of us working together for this good cause to help our community.
Exactly. Now I want to go back to something that we talked about just a little while ago about the waterways and stuff. Now, didn't you guys use something this year in the water that cleanup? That
We did. The Clean Coast Coalition came down there from north of Boston, and they brought a machine in called Pixie Drone.
okay.
And the Pixie Drone is a remote-controlled device that floats along the surface of the water
Right.
and scoops in the trash. And so it'll scoop all the trash in, and then it'll bring it back, and we'll just empty it out and send it back out again.
Yeah. So I first saw it on Facebook myself. I was like, wow, look at that. I was really amazed with that. And it worked out good for you guys. That was
It
a good
really
thing,
did.
or-
It really helped us
Yeah.
to promote the trash in the inner harbor.
Yeah.
And there's also a item called the sea bin, which we didn't bring, but there's a sea bin that would just sit, like say, in the harbor here, and the sea bin just kind of scoops up. The trash just kind of
Okay.
sucks in.
Right. Something like,
fills in.
almost like what you would leave in your pool, something just sitting there
Yeah, like a skimmer
flowing,
like
right?
that, exactly, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
right.
This,
Yeah.
the Sea Drone though, was like remote control, so they
okay.
could drive to where the stuff
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
to
Wow,
get it, to get
nice.
it in.
Yeah.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice.
So people are coming up, I mean, there's a lot of people around the world actually that are really taking notice of all the plastics in the ocean and trying to do something about it.
Right, so they come up with different things,
Yeah.
different ways to
Yeah.
clean it up. Well, that's fantastic to hear, yeah. Great. So we got future cleanups coming in 2025, we got 2 more coming this year. As far as the guys you funded, I think we talked about it a little bit, but you just basically just funded all by different grants and just different businesses coming in and just giving
Yeah.
their donations and their time, right?
T-shirt sponsors will donate, $250, put your logo on the back of a T-shirt that's seen, hundreds of times on volunteers' backs
Right.
while they're cleaning up the litter, while they do whenever they wear their T-shirt. So T-shirt sponsors are always welcome. We have sponsors that donate, the coffee and donuts in the morning. Domino's
Oh, nice.
Pizza, donates pizza for the volunteers. So we want to make sure that our volunteers are safe in bright shirts, that we provide gloves that do get washed in between cleanups. We provide tools for people who want them so that people are safe and they will not dehydrate while they're out there. And that we appreciate them so much that all these businesses keep donating to
Right.
us so that we
Yeah.
can continue our work.
In fact, I could probably show the audience out there what the T-shirt may look like. I have one right here.
It is bright.
So it is bright. Got the logo there, and this one is from
Oh.
no other than
yeah,
our mayor,
right.
John
That was-
Mitchell.
yes.
So that's really nice that the city donates that stretch too as well.
The city does support Operation Clean
Yeah,
Sweep
yeah.
through T-shirt sponsorship and through having staff at each of the cleanups to go around, pick up everyone's bags,
Right.
and transport that away.
Nice. So in
And the street sweeper.
And the street sweep. We're very grateful for their support. with
okay,
that.
so they come right in behind as well too.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
great,
yeah.
great.
So they've been great with supporting us for the cleanups and,
Right.
and following behind the volunteers and cleaning up all the bags that are on the side of the streets.
Oh,
That's
very
working out really well.
Nice. And so you got something else coming up this year, something new coming up,
Well,
right?
so actually we do, right? So we're preparing for the 20th year of Operation Clean Sweep. It's kind of, I think it's kind of a big deal. But a couple of things that we haven't talked about yet, though, and I think it's kind of important to just at least touch on, is that the education. So Operation Clean Sweep was always about educating people, leading by example, advocating for enforcement of litter ordinances and litter laws, and the cleanups. But our strongest suit by far has been the cleanups. We get the most traction and volunteer support through that.
Right.
But we would really love to try to increase our education. We just don't have capacity to get into the schools with the right volunteers and give the message about how important it is to clean up, to not litter, right? To
Right.
not impact the environment in a negative way.
yeah.
Because there's so many microplastics in our oceans, and everything that goes into a storm drain could eventually end up right at East Beach or West Beach. And so it's important that we take care of our local environment, even though the global environment can be so overwhelming. That little bit that you can do to teach someone not to litter, to teach a child not to litter, makes a huge impact.
Right, yeah. So, not to probably throw you under the bus or anything, so one of the big topics is a nip ban, so.
Well, yes, I agree.
So I'm sure you would agree with that, but taking that step further, I guess it wouldn't just be the nip bans, like you said, because it's coffee cups and water bottles and plastic bags. And so when you're out there, what are the most common stuff that you do come
Well,
across?
when we first started, it was scratch tickets.
Oh, really?
Now, I haven't seen scratch tickets. I thought that was the way I'm going to win my millions, by the way, is by picking up someone's discarded scratch ticket.
Right.
But it is definitely nip bottles is the problem. I've been ankle deep in them
Okay.
at a cleanup, and it's horrendous.
Right.
So that is a problem. We did try to advance the bottle bill in the state a few years back, and that failed. A lot of towns in Massachusetts, cities and towns in Massachusetts have nip bans, and we still would love to see that. So that's part of our advocacy, you know.
Right.
Try to keep that on the burner and moving through, because it's just another source of plastic litter. It's not recyclable. The caps are off, and now we have more microplastics everywhere, and it's just not fair to the environment.
Right.
So I think they should be taking them back. You put 5 cents on them, 10 cents on them, people are going to collect
People are
them,
gonna collect
and
them.
they're going to return them.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
and then
right.
the bottling industry can do what they need to do with them
Right.
and dispose of them responsibly.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's a really easy thing to do, and I don't see why it seems like it's such a difficult thing to do in the legislature.
right.
But for where we sit, that's an easy one.
That's an easy one, exactly. Yeah,
That's
I'm
low
sure.
hanging
Right.
fruit. It should just be done.
Right, right.
You know, but we also have in the city of New Bedford the app that you can put on your phone, See, Click, Fix.
Yes, that's right.
So if
Yeah.
any viewers out there don't have that app, you can put that on your phone, and then when you see a dumped item, litter, graffiti, broken street lights, whatever the problem is, you take a picture, puts a GPS location, and then it goes to city departments, they acknowledge it, and you can watch that problem get handled.
Oh, very
And
good.
if you go back and that problem says it's closed, but it's still open, you can reopen that case.
Oh,
And you can make sure that it's done. So you can call your city councilors, or
Right.
you can do it yourself with your iPhone that everyone always has in their hand.
Right, exactly. I mean, you ever see somebody always on the phone looking at it, so I mean, put that app in there.
Put that as
you know?
iPhone, and
Put
they have
that
the
app.
Android version too. So,
Right.
you know, that really helps. That is data driven. The city does address those problems.
Okay, good, good. It's nice to know. So don't forget, everybody.
See, Click,
Make sure,
Fix.
See, Click, Fix. Put in that app. You know, let's all do our part in there and keep the city clean. We've got a beautiful city here. We got to, you know, just help keep it clean. So, so again, what do you want to talk about this?
Do you want to talk about the impact,
The
Russ?
impact
Sure.
here?
Okay.
Go ahead
I would
and
like
do that.
Russ to talk.
Yeah.
This graphic is amazing.
We felt it important to really track our events and our cleanups.
Right.
Because without knowing the math of what we've achieved, we don't really know the progress. And we need to know what's happening and how we're improving and the difference that we're making. Right? So it's kind of important to be able to see what this impact report from 2006 to 2024.
Right.
Right. So it's pretty much year to date.
Okay.
So we've had like 196 events that we've done since 2006.
Wow, 196 of it.
Cleanups.
Wow,
Uh,
196.
We have cleaned out almost 249,000 pounds of litter. 249,000 pounds
Wow.
of litter and debris. Okay.
Wow.
So and thousands of items are recycled. We've had almost 10,000 volunteers
Really?
since
Wow.
then. So almost 10,000 volunteers. That's a lot of
That
volunteers.
is a lot of volunteers.
So it's important to show
Yeah.
that.
So it does show that you have people there that do care.
Oh,
You know?
yeah.
We're over 31,000 volunteer hours, right? So that's a lot of accountability, 31,000 hours, like Lynn was saying, to try to get people to come out and help out. You know, it's a task to do that, but people always, I think when they come out, they're glad that they came out to see the difference.
Right.
You know? So the state of Massachusetts has a chart that you can track volunteer hours and the value of that. So every year it changes on an hourly basis. So you can track from 2006 to today what that value would be worth. So if we had to pay out volunteers to do what we've done, we'd be looking at almost a little over $909,000.
Wow.
Right? So if you had to pay people to do what we do, the value would be over $909,000.
Wow.
since we've
And that's
been
just the
doing this.
people at the cleanups. That's not
Yes.
any of the administrative work.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
right.
And then nobody gets paid, not even administrative
No.
people. So it's
No,
just
it's all volunteer.
Yeah,
all
we're all
volunteer.
volunteer. No one
Wow,
gets paid for
that's
this.
right. That's something,
Right.
yeah.
So we'll
Wow.
be happy to give you that graphic to show.
Yeah, I was gonna say if I could, actually I could even hold it up right there and let the audience, you know, see what we have. It's Operation Clean Sweep there. This is what the impact report is from 2006 to now, 2024. So see it right there. So it's a good job that they do out here. Good job. And so,
And then we are we're having, so our logo has changed over the years, and we decided that that our whale needs to have a little bit more promotion.
Right.
All right, because our logo is a little bit busy. So this whale is 18 years old and has never had a name.
Wow, 18.
Right?
With
So,
no name.
you know, it's an important whale, represents the city of New Bedford. It's got his bucket, got his broom, and ask people to please don't litter, but we don't have a name for the whale, so we have a Name the Whale contest.
Okay.
Right?
good,
So we
very
really
good.
want to name this whale to represent New Bedford and to represent a clean environment and a clean, you know, marine environment as well.
Right, right.
And so we are still taking names. You can post them on Facebook. You can go to our website. We have a very tiny QR code here.
Okay.
But we have that on Facebook and our website as well. And
Good,
you know,
very
you can
good.
submit as many names as you like. We will be sharing out the information for our April cleanup, April 2025. As we move towards our 20th year, we're just going to elevate our mascot a little bit, and hopefully we get some great names. So please,
Good. All right,
name that
folks.
whale.
So we got that. Don't forget there, if you're interested there, you want to name that whale, here it is right here. Just go to their website, Operation Clean Sweep. Go on
.net.
Facebook or OperationCleanSweep.net or right on Facebook. So again, you get name that whale. So just want to remind folks, this is what's happening in your neighborhood. I have from Operation Clean Sweep. I have Lynn Kosh and Russ Warren, the founders and currently the new founder of the Operation Clean Sweep. They do some great work throughout the city, as you heard here today. Again, if you want to become a volunteer, you can just go to OperationCleanSweep.net or go to their Facebook page. They got 2 more cleanups to do this year, and then they're going to be working on the 2025 year. Again, if you want to go ahead and volunteer, just give it a look. I know that I was out there probably was about 4 years ago. So I was on North Front Street up in the north end, around that area.
That's a fun
So,
one.
Yeah.
There's plenty of trash
It
there.
yeah, there sure was. Yeah, along with other things too that you want to be careful. That's the other thing. You want to make sure you are safe up there. You know, they do provide you with gloves and all that stuff. You
And
don't want to
safety
go.
notes.
Yeah, and safety. That's right. You don't want to go there touching it with your hands because you don't know where you're touching or where things have been as well too. So they make sure that it's everything that you're safe, and they, concerned about your health as well too. Again, this is what's happening in your neighborhood. I'm Scott Pemberton. We have Operation Clean Sweep. We have Lynn Kosh, Russ Warren. I want to thank you so much for being today's guest, and we'll have to do this again.
Thank you so much,
Yeah.
Scott.
Thank you, Scott.
Thank you.